Hello once again, everybody, and welcome to the Mario Cristobal Show. Joe Zagacki, my broadcast partner, Don Bailey Jr. And this weekend, the Hurricanes are home against Florida State at 7 o'clock at Hard Rock Stadium, the 69th meeting between these two old rivals. Well, you played in that game. You were a captain in that game. Why is this game so important?
Joe, you circle it. Every year you know when it is, and once you leave the University of Miami, you know what your record was. And it really is... It's a game where you play against a lot of the guys as a high school player, as a peewee player. You grow up playing against them, and then you get to meet them on the big stage. So it's important.
Hurricanes are coming off another nail-biter, found a way to win in Louisville.
Yeah, they did, Joe, and it was impressive. I mean, they overcame some big problems. I mean, you talk about a kickoff return for 100 yards, you overcome that. You look at the day, and Miami found the running game, and I think that's important. 219 yards in that game, that's going to pay dividends down the road.
Found a battering ram in Damian Martinez, that's for sure. All right, when we come back, we'll talk with University of Miami head coach Mario Cristobal as we continue right after this. Hello once again, everybody, and welcome to the Mario Cristobal Show. Joe Zagacki alongside Don Bailey Jr. and, of course, University of Miami head coach Mario Cristobal. This week, the Hurricanes will take on the Florida State Seminoles at home, the 69th meeting between the Canes and the Noles. 7 o'clock kickoff at Hard Rock Stadium. And, of course, we want to pack the rock after the Hurricanes go to 7-0 with a wild 52-45 victory over the Louisville Cardinals. Whatever it takes, Coach. There was a topsy-turvy game. Went this way, went that way, went another way, but it came out the winning way.
No doubt. Like our guys, they just keep playing. They play as a team, and they do whatever it takes. And that's a really good football team we beat at their place. It was a great environment, really ruckus and rowdy and whatnot. But our guys seem to just get better as the game gets more difficult and found a way to win.
Coach, the thing that I enjoyed, of course, was 219 rushing yards in that game. It was 538 overall, but you go back and you start breaking that 200-yard plateau. That's a pretty special day.
It is due to a lot of hard work. I mean, the big guys up front, they really just got their pads down and ran their feet through contact and finished blocks. And then the running backs, they ran angry. They did. They got their pads down. They ran behind those pads, and they kept those feet moving. And also, you know what? They made a lot of people miss. They did, and when there was an extra guy there, they went to work and got those extra yards.
And I believe what you just said. The team gets better as the game goes on. The tougher the game, I think the team gets better. And one of the things you notice about your team is that everybody is engaged.
Well, I think we've recognized that we have to keep getting better, and the teams that we're playing every single week, they get better. So it's a four-quarter game. We've realized that as well. Just keep playing. I mean, these games go in so many different directions, but we've learned and we've realized that as long as we play together and stick together, we always give ourselves a chance.
Coach, Cam Ward's 7 consecutive 300-yard games. That's never happened here at the University of Miami. You start talking about the Jim Kellys and the Ericksons and the Vinnies and the Bernies, and it's never happened. So he's at that point, but also when you look at him in last week's game, those 29 rushing yards were as important as every passing yard.
No doubt. I mean, his third down plays that kept things alive with his feet, the way he finished those runs as well, his feel for the pocket and when to actually hit and go was extraordinary, and they were game-changing plays.
Well, all three of us are from Miami. Damian Martinez, his run the other day, I don't know, the two of them, a battering ram. We're from Miami. And I would just say, look like Larry Zonka.
He certainly he ran the way that he's capable of running. He's a great player and has an unbelievable future ahead of him. And it was awesome to see him just feel finally really comfortable in our schemes and just go to work. And he did the same in pass protection as well, which is not mentioned probably as much as it needs to be. He was exceptional, one of the players of the game, and looking forward to just more great moments with him.
Well, you had Mark Fletcher come in and have a great day, and he caught 4 balls as well. But then A.J. Allen, who has been described as running very angry, he sure did, and it paid off.
He did. And Mark Fletcher played a great game. I know he'd like the one fumble back, but we trust him. He won't let that happen again. But he ran hard and ran really well, caught the ball well. And then A.J. Allen, credit to Coach Merritt. He brought it up all week and brought it up on game day. This guy he's deserving of an opportunity. His change of pace, his change of style is going to provide some type of spark for us. And he hit a couple runs the way they're supposed to hit him and made a guy miss and ran another guy over. He was another guy that made a big difference, was a big factor in the game.
I did want to mention Louisville's offense. They're going to give the remaining teams on their schedule fits. And I thought, and we talked about it on our broadcast, that it was important defensively for you guys to hit some of your marks. And you had 3 sacks, which is about what you average. You had 6 tackles for losses, about what you average. You had a fumble recovery, which replaced an interception. And on third down, you held them to 3 for 12.
Yeah, we did. We hit those benchmarks, and those are things that you have to have to give yourself a chance to win the football game. And the things that are obvious are the things that we have to continue to work on, address, and just get better at them, right? Getting guys on the ground, tackling, communicating, and there's not a lack of want to. I mean, guys are truly working at it, getting after it, being very specific and detailed, as the coaches are. We're working together on it, and we expect improvement, and we're going to have improvement. And but the most important part is recognizing again that there are things that we got to get better at, and we're going to do so.
Let's go to the defensive touchdown. You have Bain and Barrow involved in the hit, and then Popo comes in and gets his touchdown. Pretty special deal.
Yeah, Bain, the epitome of block destruction, just shed the tackle's block, and Simeon was coming around on that stunt, and they both they sandwiched the back and spun him around. That ball came loose, and Popo went after that thing, man, like it was his last meal on earth. Now he went and got it done, and he was not going to be denied in a tremendous game-changing play.
Bain, I think this is an official number, and I've never seen anything like it, although I kind of felt this way. 10 quarterback pressures. They couldn't, I know how they stopped them, but it was illegal the way they stopped them, but 10 quarterback pressures.
Well, 10 quarterback pressures, and that's him fighting through, getting yanked down, right? Getting held, getting double teamed. And the best part about him, he's not looking over at the refs and looking for, hey, help me here, I'm getting tugged down. He just goes, and that's the way you should play. And he went about his way, and he was, that guy is really taking on a whole new level of physical play.
Coach, a testament to your recruiting in this football team and how you're building it. I remember last year we talked to Bain, and we were asked him, well, what's the toughest game that you've been in? He says, no, it's at practice going against 61. Mm-hmm. He says, going against my own offensive line has prepared me for everything that I see.
Yeah, those are great things to watch on a daily basis. You watch 61 and CC, Francis Mainoa, and you watch Jalen Rivers and the way Markel's developing as well. Sampson's coming along really well also. You watch guys like Bain and Mesidor, Tyler Barron go against these guys, Elijah Alston, Malik Bryant, who was doing well, was sick this past game, but he's back now. And then you watch the young guys, Armando Blunt and Cole McConaughey and Lightfoot, and then you see some epic battles, and you see the future as well with the way that these guys, not only the way they compete, but their level of intensity and their levels of effort. Iron sharpens iron has become a real thing in the trenches on Green Tree.
I want to talk to you a little bit again about these money downs. Third down, offensively, you were 9 for 15. On the first touchdown drive in the third quarter, I think you were 4 for 4 on third downs. But then fourth downs, you're 2 for 2. I think it's important to note, those fourth downs, you pulled the trigger on it deep in your own territory.
Yeah, I felt all the eyeballs look over at me on the sideline. I get it, but you're in one of those games where possessions are so valuable, and you really don't want to turn the ball over unless you absolutely have to. There's a risk with it, but going into the game, we felt that our short yardage package and our matchups were in our favor, and that if we had to get the real tough ones, that the big guys with the ball in their hands were going to find a way to get their pads down and drive their knees and find a way to get it. So tremendous. All the credit goes to the players because the trust and confidence is in them, and they found a way to get it done.
We build confidence with that. And you mentioned Jalen being back into the ball game, but also you created rotation where you have McCoy in the game as well, and it just worked out so well. I think we need to recognize Matt McCoy. He had an unbelievable game.
Matt McCoy is going to have a long career playing football because he is tough, he's physical, he is super athletic, and you know what? He fights for every ounce that he can get, and he can play tackle, he can play guard, he can probably play center as well. He is unselfish, just a total team player. So he was a big reason why we ran the ball like we did on Saturday.
Maybe you don't want to reveal if it's a secret, but when you go for it on fourth down, there's a lot of discussion in today's football world about going for it on fourth down. It's metrics. And Belichick says, well, what the metrics don't take into account is whether it's a good offense going against a bad defense or vice versa. There's a big sample size out there, but it doesn't take into effect those matchups. So I guess, do you look at metrics, or is it more on instinct and gut and knowing your team?
You know, in situations like that, we've studied the analytics forever. So didn't look at it for that particular play. I'm sure if you look at it now, in hindsight, it'll say go for it. It was one of those things where we had our mind made up that we were going to, the matchup favored us, and schematically we felt like we found something we could depend upon, and we went with it. But I do think analytically it would still favor us trying it.
Coach, I'm going to change gears real quick here, but Joe Zagacki was announced as president of the University of Miami. We haven't had you on this show since that has happened, and for me personally, I mean, it's a Miami guy, right? I mean, he went to school here, educated here, and went on to do great things, and I know he was in the locker room after the game, and give us your feelings about that as well.
5-star.
Yeah.
You know, give him a 6-star. You know, he's a home run for this city, this university, this community. I mean, 50 years invested, right? I mean, every part of his body and soul, right? And everything invested in the University of Miami. And he's a difference maker. And he impacts people. His care factor is through the roof. Just an elite human being and an elite professional. I mean, the absolute best of the best. So we're lucky to have him, and looking forward to his leadership as we go forward.
You know, you gave him the game ball. And I thought, when I looked at it, the way the players responded to their president, I thought, man, there are a whole bunch of people out there that one day are going to say, I got to go there to play for that coach and that president, because you could see how united everyone was in the locker room. I thought that was pretty cool, and he really appreciated it, and you can see how he's dialed in to your program.
Well, I think that our players recognize the amount of work and the sacrifice that have been made to put all these things together, and our president, Joe Zagacki, is very present. You know, he's very visible on all the things University of Miami. I mean, he works around the clock, so they know what's up, and so it was awesome to see them excited as well, and for him, for our president, to feel the excitement of our players for him.
You know, Coach, in the locker room, there's average age, I guess, is 20 years old of the players, and the smile and how proud those guys were to carry in the Schnellenberger Trophy. I mean, if someone were wearing it as a crown, I mean, they just absolutely loved bringing that trophy home to Miami and making sure it was on the plane and making sure it got here.
You know, that game is such an important game, because that's a really good opponent. You know, and they've got a lot of good players and good coaches, and certainly it's a tough place to play. And then the added aspect of the trophy, and Coach Schnellenberger, as we all know, what he has done for everything Miami and for college football, and the fact that there's a trophy, you know, that's named in his honor is just, and it's special. It's special, and it was great to see our players recognize that. I was very blessed to have a little time. My wife and I and our kids had some time with Miss Beverly, and got to speak after the game. And because my father was, may he rest in peace, was a huge fan of Coach Schnellenberger. I mean, thought that guy was a real deal. So just very blessed to have the opportunity.
Thank you, Coach. Time now for our high performance moment, presented by Kia. And what a moment this is. 2 moments, actually. The battering ram, Damian Martinez. First one, Don, look at this run.
Oh, yeah, immediate contact, Joe, and he just runs right through it. I love Inez Cooper, number 73, knocks his player off his feet and then starts pulling Martinez along, and the entire offense is showing up to continue this play.
Damian Martinez flexing his muscle.
Absolutely, and you even see some of the receivers getting in there, Joe, but this sends a message down the road for weeks to come that Miami is a power running team, and here he is in open field, and what you like most is he protects that football because they're trying to rake it out of his arms.
One of my favorite runs ever, a rolling ball of butcher knives, Damian Martinez.
That's the name. You should label that, and you get the tight end involved as well, Joe. And it was an entire offensive effort to get him into the end zone, but more importantly, he got in and scored and did not turn it over, because watch, they are going after it, just swats that guy and knocks him off his feet.
Damian Martinez the high performance moment presented by Kia. This week it's Miami and Florida State Hard Rock Stadium. The 69th meeting between the Canes and the Noles. Miami leads the series 35-33. We'll start with this. Hurricane fans, the national media might say, oh, Hurricane fans don't travel. Well, they did travel to Louisville, they traveled to Gainesville and South Florida, and now I think they will show up on Saturday for Florida State. But I know you would love to have a great home field advantage for this one with the Noles.
No doubt. Looking forward to seeing everybody there. I mean, on the way out of the stadium on Saturday, that's all the fans were talking about, you know. And it seems like every game that we've been on the road, like that fan base has grown more and more. It's completely just multiplied. So, yeah, we're all looking forward to seeing. We haven't been home in a month. You know, it's been a month since we played at home, and we have the opportunity to play, you know, our biggest rival. They're an excellent football team, and we're all looking forward to the opportunity.
Coach, let's talk about the rivalry for a minute. Forever, I would think that if you're a Miami guy, just as if you're a Florida State guy, the schedule comes out, pick it up, and you circle it. That's the first one you go to. It's a pretty special rivalry, and it is as unpredictable as the weather.
Yeah, I think it's, look, there's everything you want in a rivalry, right? The fan bases hate each other, right? They absolutely want to kill each other, but there's also the respect of, these are two storied programs that have played in some epic games over the years. And it seems like every single year, just about every year, there's one of those. So I think we all know this is going to be an extremely just intense and physical game. And again, we're just looking forward to playing our best football.
They come in, we know what their record is, but when you play this game, you have to get rid of the record. And I look at their defense last week against Duke. Two things I look at with them, Coach. They held Duke to under 200 yards of offense, had 8 3-and-outs. And then I peruse this kicking game they have. The punter averages 49 yards a punt, and the field goal kicker is 9 for 10 with 4 field goals of 50 yards or more. So if they're laying out a plan, they might be thinking defense and special teams.
Well, again, they are as talented as any team, or more talented than any team we have played. Records in these games don't mean anything. I think we all know what they're capable of, and I think they know what we're capable of as well. So this is going to be an epic, just heavyweight fight is what it's going to be. So, and you have to prepare. They're skilled players. They're trenches. They're high-level guys. A lot of NFL players on that roster. They have good coaches. So again, just looking forward to preparing, and we need to be at our best to be successful on Saturday.
And Coach, the thing that people get worried about when you have an undefeated team versus a team that hasn't had the success is that you're going to underestimate the opponent. It's not going to happen. I mean, it doesn't happen in this game ever.
Yeah, people use the term throughout the records. Look, whatever the record is, this team is not that record. Yeah. We've watched enough tape, and our players have watched enough tape to fully recognize the battle that we're in for on Saturday. And it's the way this game should always be, and that's what this game is going to be. So the only focus is on practicing and preparing to the best of our ability so we can get better. Because to win, we have to get better.
But as you mentioned, this secondary is one that they will shadow you all over the field and try to make it as difficult as possible.
They're one of the few secondaries around the country that could flat out play man. Sometimes when you play an opponent, they have 1 or 2 guys that can do it. They have all 5 guys and their reserves that can play man coverage, which allows them to obviously let those guys up front get after the quarterback. And they can get to the quarterback with just 4 guys. They're one of the top pressure teams in the country. And again, their blitzes and their third down packages are very challenging. So they're an excellent defense, and they're playing their best football as of last week.
Sam Brown coming off a 3-catch, 125-yard day and a touchdown just at the right time.
Yep, and I think hard work has paid off for him because, again, when you start so late in the process and you have to catch up to put in extra time, and the best part about it is that Cam Ward's going to get those receivers, and they better be at extra film sessions. If not, good luck trying to catch a football or getting a football thrown your way. That's the way it's got to be, and it's got to be like that forever. And when the extra time was put in and the opportunities came, it's not by coincidence that it worked out. And one of the more important things that Sam did was he finished plays. He spun out of those 2 tackles, and then when he was about to get tackled down the field, you know what he did? He got rid of that defender as well. That is, whether you have the ball in your hand or not, you've got to be physical and play hard.
I mentioned Bain earlier. I would be remiss if I did not also mention the way Mesidor has been playing. And you ask him to do a lot of different things, and he also shows up late in the game. He makes a lot of clutch plays for you.
Yeah, I mean, him forcing that intentional grounding penalty was massive, And he's like the Swiss Army knife. He goes in at nose, at 3, at the 5, the 4-eye, the 9. He knows the defense inside and out, super smart, and plays with a tremendous motor.
So about that whole defensive front, really, Coach, the front, the down linemen themselves. We obviously talk about Bain and Barrow and Mesidor, but you've also started, I saw McConaughey get in the game. You're starting to get that youth in there. And the example that they have by the names I just mentioned, how that helps grow them as football players.
Without a doubt. They have good players that they are learning from, and they're getting some spot reps here and there, and they know they got to make the most of it because you're never guaranteed reps. Getting reps is not your right. It's a privilege, and you've got to earn that privilege. So I think that they have a great combination of, while they're young, they could learn from some really experienced older guys and at the same time start getting some reps.
You two guys played on teams here that had a lot of mental toughness. And so the other day, you're up 14, and there's a kickoff return and then a fumble and a touchdown, and all of a sudden the lead evaporates. And your team responds by going right back down the field and scoring another touchdown, and then another touchdown after that. What does it say about your team's mental toughness?
Well, I think our teams are just resilience through hard work and preparation. And there's a very strong belief due to success on Green Tree. I think that really sums it up. I don't think it's complicated, and I don't think it's a magic formula. I mean, they've done the work, they're doing the work. The intent is to even work harder and better tomorrow. So I think all those aspects of our game are going to continue to get stronger because we recognize that for us to keep winning, we have to get better in those things.
Coach, would you call it a mutual investment, that everybody is investing pretty close to the same amount of energy and also making sure that what they do helps the entire team?
We're getting there. I mean, if you don't, you're probably not going to be very comfortable here. You're probably going to stick out in the wrong kind of way, and that's the culture that we aim to get to. And I mean that in a positive way. I mean, you're getting a lot of like-minded individuals that recognize the importance of hard work. There's a lot that comes with a good day's hard work. Not only with your performance, but your mentality and the mentality of your teammates. Their trust and confidence in you. So there's a lot of ground being gained in that direction, and we want to keep our foot on the gas.
A little salute to Borregales, another 50-yarder, and Joyce, the holder. There are a couple of snaps came in a little bit hot. He did a good job.
His hold on that particular kick was off the charts.
When you look at the protection in field goal and extra point, I know you guys spend a ton of time on it, and it pays off because that's an area where you can really jeopardize a ball game.
Yeah, and that's the most thankless job. Mm-hmm. And certainly one that absolutely no one has ever gotten overly excited about unless that's your only playing time. So just a lot of pride. We got to get better at it. There's certainly, you look every single week, people are attacking it in different ways, and you can't leave any holes out there on tape. So we always analyze that, assess it. We've had some really good moments, and we got to shore up some other ones.
Did want to mention, if you look at the conference, the ACC, we have some really good teams this year that are undefeated right now in conference play. You did coach and recruit in the SEC and the Pac-12, now here in the ACC. This conference, you can see with our own team here, the talent level in this conference is getting better and better and better, isn't it?
Yeah, I think having been in all the conferences, I think the top level teams, they're very comparable, and all three conferences are it's very competitive. I think everybody has really good players, so it becomes a matchup game as you get into conference play. So what I see in this league, I see really, really good defensive linemen, which is, it starts with the trenches, right? I see some massive offensive lines. Most everybody's got a really good quarterback and dynamic receivers. So it's a league where, they're going to come down to the final quarter, and it's going to be exciting because guys can throw the ball around, but they can get after the passer also. So it's I can't say enough great things about the level of competition that we've encountered in this being our third year here, and you look at the way that the conference is recruiting and the coaching hires made, it's only going to get better and better. So, we're always ready and proud to represent, ourselves and our conference.
Coach, it's been 4 or 5 weeks since I brought this group up, but after each game, you honor the players of the game and performances of the game. But one thing you also talk about every single week after the game is your walk-ons and how they perform, and you honor those guys. And you're not winning games like you're winning without those guys out on the field.
No doubt. No doubt. And the guys that have walked on, and some of the scholarship guys the scout team guys, it's all about the type of look they give us. If they prepare us with great speed and great physicality, we're going to play well. If they're giving us an awful look and that's what we walk into the game, haven't been prepared upon, it's not going to work out. So those guys grind. And here they're taken care of and treated like everybody else. It doesn't matter if you came here as a walk-on or a 5-star. You're gonna work your butt off, and you're gonna have a lot demanded of you. And if that's your kind of thing, you're gonna do great. If not, then it's not gonna work.
And if you can get on the plane, you get on the plane.
It doesn't matter.
That's
it doesn't
right.
matter how you got there. If you earned it, you got a seat.
Last thing for you before we go, the health of your team has been remarkable right now. More than halfway through the season, really down, I think, one starter, but the other day, about as healthy as you could possibly be at this time of the year.
Well, down about really 3 starters between, because Ryan was a split starter for us, Damari Brown was, Elijah Alston was a split starter for us, and who else? Well, Malik Brown was on the second team, but those guys are getting, Elijah Alston is now healthy. Ryan is still a few weeks out. Ryan and Damari are going to join us late in the year. We'll get them back, but just late in the year, and those guys are really, really valuable. And then Malik was sick last week, but he's good to go now.
All right, Coach. Very best of luck this week against Florida State.
Thank you. Go Canes.
All right, that's University of Miami head coach Mario Cristobal. Will continue on the show right after this. When you give it your all to be in peak condition, sometimes you get hurt. From meniscus or rotator cuff tears to muscle strains and other common sports injuries, the experts at the University of Miami Sports Medicine Institute, part of UHealth University of Miami Health System, are committed to getting you back to your best safely, effectively, and as quickly as possible. Recover your game with the same team that cares for your Miami Hurricanes. Schedule an appointment today at uhealthsports.com. Happy to welcome you back to the Mario Cristobal Show. Joe Zagacki, Don Bailey Jr., Hurricanes and the Seminoles on Saturday night at Hard Rock Stadium, 7 p.m. It's still the Seminoles, despite their record. You cannot underestimate Florida State.
I promise you, the University of Miami is not looking at their record, and Florida State is looking at Miami's record because they feel that they've got a chance to knock off the number 5 team in the country who happens to be their rival. Miami understands what they're walking into.
Hurricanes number 1 in the country in total offense, 577 yards a game, scoring nearly 50 points a game. Cam Ward, 7 straight games, over 300 yards. FSU's offense averages 15 points a game, but the Noles defense, pretty good.
They're very good, Joe. They're big, they're strong, they're good in the secondary. Their linebackers are able to go sideline to sideline, and they're powerful up front. But I will tell you this, Miami's offense is going to continue to click. The offensive line has gotten solidified with Rivers coming back. A lot of good things are coming.
Should be a lot of fun. The series, Miami leads it 35-33. For head coach Mario Cristobal and Don Bailey Jr., I'm Joe Zagacki. We'll see you next week on the Mario Cristobal Show.